Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 70th Annual Horatio Alger Awards Induction Ceremony. Please welcome the Voices of Liberty Choir for the singing of the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Mine eyes have seen the glory
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome international concert and recording artist Deborah Myers for the singing of the Canadian National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of the colors of the United States and the singing of the national anthem of the United States of America.
Colors, forward, halt.
Standing by for orchestra. Standing by video for
Colors, right shoulder, halt. Colors, ready, cut. Colors, present, halt.
go.
Oh, say, can you see by Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Colin Powell, a 1991 member of the Horatio Alger Association. I want to welcome you to this very special evening, an evening in which we celebrate 11 distinguished citizens who have made such a contribution to the two great countries, people who have not only demonstrated persistence in overcoming obstacles on the path to the American dream, but who also exhibited the integrity and compassion that have enabled them to succeed in such a principled way. They serve as splendid examples to others who wish to succeed. There's a word for such people. They're called leaders. In a very real sense, membership in this organization means leadership. Horatio Alger members are men and women of vision. We believe in selfless service, putting the job ahead of our ego, and we're optimistic, always believing things will be better and working hard to make them so. We must always carry ourselves in that way to build the trust that's necessary for other people to follow our example and embrace our Horatio Alger values. So it's no accident that our own association has benefited from great leadership throughout our first 70 years. We've been fortunate to have so many great Americans guide us over the course of 3 generations. They have steered us into a new era in which we not only seek to inspire deserving young people, we give them tangible support through our many programs, including tens of millions of dollars in scholarship. My congratulations to all of the new members here tonight and to their families and their friends. I urge all of you to participate in the work of the association, the life of the association, and to continue to be leaders in showing the way for others to follow in the pursuit of the American dream. I'd like to introduce one of those leaders right now, a 2011 Horatio Alger Award winner and the president of our Horatio Alger Association, Mr. Byron Trott.
What can I say? What a fantastic way to begin the evening. Thank you, General Powell, for your impactful words of wisdom, for your incredible patriotism and service to this great country and to the Horatio Alger Association. Please join me one more time in thanking General Powell. Before we get into the induction of our new members and focus on the adults, I just want to do a shout out for the students. The student scholars, you've been great. Thank you for doing what you do and for being here tonight. It's fantastic, the breakfast meeting the students, the members forum, and the new members giving such great advice, counsel to the kids today, the State Department lunch. We've had quite a great day, and these kids are pretty amazing. So thank you. It's a very special year for Horatio Alger, the 70th anniversary of an organization responsible for supporting and safeguarding the American dream. This is truly something to celebrate. As General Powell mentioned, the Horatio Alger Association has benefited from an incredible legacy of leadership and generosity that makes this one of the most impactful organizations in the world. Looking back, we owe much to the members who in 1984 had the vision and wisdom to launch our National Scholarship Program. 33 years ago, we awarded our first scholarships, 7 of them, $5,000 each, $35,000. Those 4 men who started us on our journey, incredible journey, significant social impact in the form of college scholarships, are Jim Bob Moffitt, W.W. Clements, John Rollins, and Charles Red Scott. Jim Bob Moffitt is here. Please stand. And the families of the others are here with us as well. Please stand. Let's applaud their vision and success. Thank you. Since 1984, our members, so many of you who are here tonight, have demonstrated extraordinary support with both their money, but very much and really important is your time. The number of people and those of you that spend time with the kids here for this gala throughout the year, we can't thank you enough. In terms of money, we have managed to give away $125 million of scholarships to more than 25,000 deserving scholars. All of that work and the thousands of students we've helped has strengthened our great nations and provided a shining example to the world. But tonight is not only about our strong heritage, it's about the promise of the future, reinforcing the American dream and the free enterprise system of which it depends, has never been more important than it is right now. Clearly, we have great impact by awarding over 2,300 scholarships this year. However, we had over 40,000 applications, so the opportunity and the need is extraordinary. While we are helping so many, we can do so much more. If we simply continue this remarkable rate of growth, if I happen to understand math, and you go back to 1984, for 33 years, we've compounded our scholarship giving in both number of scholarships as well as dollar amount by about 20% a year. It's a pretty incredible rate of growth. So 5 years from now, hopefully when we're all here for the 75th, if we just continue on the path in which we have come, we should be giving out over 5,000 scholarships at our 75th anniversary. That's a tall order, but it's a goal that I'm confident we can, and I'm confident we should reach that goal and achieve that goal. And with the help of everyone here in this room tonight, and all of the membership and the great new membership class of 2017, I know it's reachable. Please connect, get involved, jump in, adopt a school, adopt a region, pick a program, create a program, something that you can be passionate about, help these kids. There are now 72 different membership-sponsored scholarship programs that are administered by Horatio Alger. There are no cookie cutters. They're national, they're state, they're grad school, they're technical, there are many others. Terry Giroux and his unbelievable staff are absolutely incredible at taking your ideas and molding them into something special and executing and administering them with absolute perfection. When I look around this room and see the commitment all of you have for these students, I have 100% confidence that you will exceed our goals and secure a better future for those in need. So with that, thank you. To lead us through the awards ceremony tonight, I'm thrilled to introduce two of our most dedicated and well-known members. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Horatio Alger members of the classes of 1999 and 2000, Lou Dobbs and Tom Selleck.
Thank you, General Powell and Byron Trott, for getting us off to such an inspiring start.
As the General said, Horatio Alger membership goes hand in hand with leadership. And as Byron just showed us, it's leadership to take us firmly into the future.
And it's not only our members and the new members that we honor tonight who have demonstrated that remarkable quality. Our Horatio Alger scholars, these talented young people, have already shown that they're leaders too. They are leaders on the path to the American dream that has helped us make the United States and Canada together a force for good throughout the world. And these scholars have the potential to make that force even more powerful.
General Powell also mentioned the Horatio Alger Association as a force for good. Our growth required strong, sensible guidance, and it caused us to take a good look at ourselves. We realized what needed to be done, and we've gone out and done it. So all the good work of this association is a reflection of you. That look in the mirror made us embrace our principles a little stronger.
make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the streets with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs?
Some disregard a broken bottle top and one man's soul.
They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. There's no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make the change.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Award winner, Stevie Clever. Come on, Nova.
I'm gonna make a change.
You are.
It's gonna feel real good. Come on.
Just lift yourself, you know. You got to stop it yourself.
Yeah.
Make that change today.
You got to stop it yourself. Make that change.
Today. You got to stop yourself, brother.
what a way to remind us of why we're here. Thank you to all of our performing artists for that terrific opening. It's always a pleasure to be here at DAR Constitution Hall, and I'm pleased to invite to the stage Mrs. Morgan Meyer Lake, Recording Secretary General of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, to deliver tonight's invocation.
From 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, God has not given to me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, open our minds to new ideas of achievement. Give us the courage, the imagination, and the willingness to see beyond the present, to realize our dreams and ambitions for the future of America. Help us to be sure of our direction, faithful to our commitments, and humbly grateful in our successes. Unite us in unselfish service to our great nation and to you. Amen.
We're celebrating our 70th anniversary tonight, and throughout this evening, we'll reach back into our history for a look at some of the members of our association over those years. Up on these screens, you'll see some of the distinguished Americans who have been honored with the Horatio Alger Award. They are remarkable men and women. They still serve as models of what young people can accomplish by facing their challenges with courage and determination. Together, they exemplify the Horatio Alger ideal of succeeding by living a principled life. But most of them went beyond just being examples. They dedicated themselves to leading by their own example. They embraced the purposes of our association, and they did everything they could to move themselves and all of us forward into the future. So the strength of the Horatio Alger Association leadership comes from its members, and the strength of its members comes from our principles: hard work, perseverance, honesty, and active concern for others. Our 70th anniversary is an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to those values. It's a time to be inspired by the leadership of our fellow members who devoted themselves to preserving them. And it is a time to welcome new ones.
We're here tonight to celebrate 11 men and women who exemplify the successful quest for the American dream. A quest that not only succeeds through hard work, honesty, stick-to-itiveness, and caring for those around us. They are worthy recipients of the mantle of Horatio Alger and the award created in his name. Let's meet the first of them now. John Scully grew up knowing that hard times could always be just around the corner. His father had lost everything in the Great Depression, and John became an entrepreneur at an early age. He realized that education, tenacity, and hard work were crucial to the pursuit of his dream. Today, he is co-founder of the managing director of SPO Partners, supervising over $10 billion in assets. Let's watch his story.
You can only achieve your dreams by getting the best possible education you can get. Once you're there, work your tail off. If you don't, you're not going to go very far. My parents both worked. Neither went to college. My dad was in an insurance adjusting company, and I had a brother who was 4 years younger, and he was much more of a character. There was a clear orientation to family. In 8th grade, I started a lawn mowing business, and I had 20 customers. I had 3 employees, and unfortunately, I had the first strike recorded in the history of industrial lawn mowing. As soon as the kids got $50 to $60 in their pocket, they said, "Goodbye, John, I'm taking the summer off. I'm gonna take out Jane, I'm gonna go, see ya." So that was my first entrepreneurial activity. I was doing physical labor with my buddies in Metuchen, New Jersey, where you worked at the Ford plant or you worked at the Mack truck plant. At least half of them didn't go to college. I wanted to aspire and I wanted to do things to make the world a better place. So when I was in the math club in 8th grade, we had some exposure to what economics looked like. We made that our project. We bought 2 stocks, neither of which distinguished themselves, but we learned a lot. By 8th grade, 9th grade, I was spending a great amount of time investing in the stock market. I realized that, it's possible to make a lot of money by finding other good people with excellent business plans and good ideas that are a lot smarter than I am, that happen to be public. My parents had always said, "Look, we didn't go to college, you're going to college." So I was fortunate enough to get into Princeton. That led to Stanford Business School. That led to a career in Wall Street and having my own firm when I was 27. Someone said you can make one investment, one asset for the rest of your life. It would never be gold. You can rise in this great country from very modest beginnings, and I am honored and humbled to become a member of the Horatio Alger Association in pursuit of this full, fair, and free society that we all call the United States, and allows everyone to express their greatest abilities and to reach their dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. John H. Scully, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Arthur A. Choka.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I have never been quite sure why I was nominated for this, but I'm very delighted to be receiving it. I suppose it started as a young man in Metuchen, New Jersey, who developed a small lawn mowing company in Metuchen at age 14. I can assure you, in my wildest dreams, I never would have imagined that I'd be recognized for an award like this. I'm profoundly honored and humbled to be so included with so many distinguished Americans in this joyous evening. I thank my good friend Art Sioka, who had the bravery to nominate me, and of course the support of my amazing wife Regina and my wonderful family, which is sitting over there. I won't ask them to get up because they'll never sit down again. America is a remarkable country. Neither of my parents spent a day in college, but they made sure my brother Vince, who is joining me tonight, and I did. And I went on to graduate school as he did. We were very blessed by a warm and loving family that always encouraged us to study hard and reach for the stars. Our parents also stressed giving back to others, creating an eleemosynary, we're going to quiz you on that word, instinct. In my senior year of college, when I tutored a troubled 4th grader, I realized how far behind she was academically and how unlikely it would be for her to catch up. A true tragedy. I set a life goal to hopefully address this national disgrace by helping the educationally underserved. This ultimately led to our founding of our Making Waves organization to educate less fortunate children in troubled Richmond, California. We have spread out now to go to the entire county of Contra Costa, where our students are 98% Latino, Latina, and African American in a multiple charter school system now in Richmond, and we're on our way to reaching at least 1,500 more with a long-term plan to get to about 7,000 children. Here are the key numbers. Over 70% of our seniors gain admission to 4-year colleges. from this most difficult Richmond community, compared to 12% from the folks who go, the children that go to the schools in Richmond that are not the charter schools. I think that says it all. Same kids, 12% versus 70%. We plan, thank you. We plan to triple our school enrollment in 7 years in Richmond and also enter additional nearby poverty-stricken urban areas, generally in the East Bay of the San Francisco region. It is my personal opinion that such giving back is the highest calling for all of those of us who have been very blessed. Our institutional reward here tonight is the joy of seeing these Horatio Alger success stories. It is our distinct honor to join with these young students and to help them in their college career. As a country based on equality and fairness, supporting them in their hopes and aspirations to both prosper and give back is indeed our highest calling. I am honored to join with my fellow donors in support of this noble mission. Thank you all, and God bless America.
Congratulations, John. There is a redemptive quality to the story of our next award winner. It is a story of determination and a story of initiative and also of overcoming a kind of adversity no one should have to face. It is a story of the raw courage of a teenage mother of 3. Now she is the president and the CEO of one of the largest privately owned trucking companies in this country. Let's meet her. Marcy Taylor.
This last year, I received an honorary doctorate. And for somebody that didn't get to go to college, that was just such a wonderful life event for me. I grew up in Southern Illinois in a farming community, and my father was a multi-generational farmer. My mother and father were both very hardworking. I think that's where my work ethic came from, because we had to work in the fields. My father unexpectedly passed away and left my mother and my brother and I with a farm that we really couldn't manage. So we sold everything. I married at 16 and started having a family. We didn't have a lot of income. I went to work, and it was very difficult for the gentleman that I married. And so consequently, we ended up in a very bad marital situation. It became very abusive. I knew that if I was going to change my situation for the children and I, that I couldn't stay. So we moved to Georgia, and I went to work for this small trucking company. I later married J.D. Garrison, a wonderful man. We had scraped together $500, and we had the opportunity to buy this little small trucking company. We actually bought it on credit. When J.D. died in 1981, I felt some of the most adversity in my life because I was a female in a male-dominated industry. I'm very thankful that I had a lot of people that believed in me and felt that I could do the job. I still have some of those employees today. Did you see the email from the regional? One of my greatest joys is getting to work with my family. My 3 children all work in the business and are a big part of who we are today as a company. And my life partner, Michael Kay, just brings so much joy to me. We've been married now 22 years.
How do you like your new truck?
I like it.
Becoming a member of the Horatio Alger Association is one of the greatest honors of my life. I am so humbled by the group of current members and my fellow inductees who demonstrate such leadership in making the American dream a reality for future generations.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118,
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Ms. Marcia G. Taylor, and her nominating sponsor, Mr. Foster S. Fries.
Thank you. I am deeply humbled and honored to become a member of the Horatio Alger Association. To be here with such a distinguished group of fellow inductees and current members is truly one of the greatest honors of my life. As a young girl raised on a farm in southern Illinois, I could never have dreamed where life was going to take me. It was never in my plans to move to Georgia, nor to become the CEO of a transportation and logistics company. But thankfully, God had a much better plan for my life than I did. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Even though college wasn't an option for me, I've had many years of on-the-job training and some great life experiences. And I'm very thankful for all of the incredible mentors who have provided me with advice along the way. They encouraged me to be fearless, but to also stay true to my values in all of my decisions. I want to personally thank Foster Fries for nominating me and for his and Lynn's incredible friendship. I'm very blessed to have my husband, Michael Kay, and my children here with me tonight. They have been with me every step of the way on this amazing journey. Working with my family and forming the Taylor Foundation has given us the ability to give back to our community, which has been a tremendous blessing for our family. To all of the scholars who are here tonight, my story parallels so many of yours. There were challenges and obstacles that I know you had to face just to be here, just as I did. I look forward to supporting you with opportunities to achieve your dreams. Be fearless and don't be afraid to take chances. You may find out that God's plan for you is greater than your dreams could ever have imagined. Thank you.
There are many roads to the American dream, but you can bet that on all of them, there is at least one big truck that says Penske. From a modest background, Roger Penske's work ethic and leadership have led him to success on the racetrack, in business, and in life. Let's watch as he tells us his story.
One thing that I've found out in racing, we lose more races than we win. How do you deal with adversity? I don't look in the rearview mirror, I look out the windshield. When I think about the values in the Penske household back when I was growing up in Cleveland, it was about integrity, it was about hard work, and it was about family. Well, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she had two sons, which she had to keep an eye on day in and day out, but did everything she could to support us. My father taught me about partnerships at a very young age. When I wanted a new bicycle, he said, you go out and earn half of it, and I'll be your partner. And he did that not only when I got my first bicycle, but when I invested in my first business. He told me from the very beginning, and I think it's a lifelong lesson, that people aren't lucky, but the ones that succeed are the ones that can come from adversity and have a commitment. And my dad said, you put in the effort, you're going to get the result. My career path starts really in two areas. My love of cars, that drove me to get a chance to go to Indianapolis as a fan, to become a driver at one point. a car owner, then have the opportunity to win that race 16 times is certainly one path. But that created this common thread, through our businesses, which shows execution, it shows teamwork, it shows integrity, and I think that's been the hallmark of our success. But there was more than one challenging time. In 1995, we didn't qualify for the Indianapolis 500. And I remember going back to the garage and saying, we failed. But it made us a better team, made me a much better person. And we came back then in 2001, 2, and 3 and won the race 3 years in a row. Every race you go into, you're there to win. And when you don't, you've got to pick yourself back up and your team and go forward. And in business, it's not just about the net income or the bottom line. It's about your people, the development of your people, the ability to build a team and get them in a direction where they want to win. And if you do that, I think you're able to take someone that's down and pick them up. Well, the greatest joys in my life would be my wife, my 5 children, and my 13 grandchildren. To see them flourish is the most positive thing in my life. Becoming a new member of the Horatio Alger Association is an honor and it's humbling. And to think about the hundreds of people and young lives that they've touched over the years is something that we cannot forget.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Roger S. Penske, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Patrick G. Ryan.
Well, thank you very much. I'm honored to become part of the legacy of this great organization. I'm happy to add my efforts to those of the Horatio Alger Association on behalf of deserving young people. Congratulations to tonight's other inductees, and a big thanks to my sponsor, Pat Ryan Sr., for his friendship and his contribution to the association. Without the support and understanding of my family, especially my wife, Kathy, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. They're all here, and I can't thank them enough. Whatever adversity I had in my life, I was prepared by my parents to overcome it. They taught me about the importance of hard work, of character, of discipline, of honesty, integrity, and caring about other people. These are Horatio Alger values, and they are an integral part of my DNA and the DNA of my companies. Caring about people leads to partnerships, and partnerships fueled my passion in business and continued on the racetrack to reward the sponsors who trusted our team each and every week. Racing teaches us how to win, but more importantly, it teaches us how to deal with adversity. It's not the wins our teams have on race day that define us. What defines us is how we deal with that adversity that comes from the challenges on the racetrack and in business each week. It's about how we don't look in the rearview mirror and dwell on our mistakes, and how we ensure the same mistake doesn't happen again. To the young scholars in attendance tonight, I want to leave you with something to remember. Many times I'm asked to describe what makes our company successful. To me, it starts with integrity. Remember, it's your reputation. It takes a lifetime to build and refine a reputation, but all that hard work can be destroyed with a simple click on a keyboard through a social media post. I'd like to mention something else you saw in the video. It's only 3 words. It's effort equals results. It means you need to work to get what you want in life. You get out a direct proportion of what you put in. There are no free rides. There are no shortcuts. Remember those words, effort equals results. They will serve you well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm honored and humbled to be part of this organization. Thank you.
Congratulations, Roger. This year's class of award winners includes a few very familiar faces, and none will be more familiar to Horatio Alger members than that of my fellow broadcast journalist, Byron Pitts. Every year, he introduces us to the extraordinary students at our annual breakfast, saluting the national scholars. He'll do so again tomorrow. His own story is one of growing up in a very tough neighborhood with faith, hard work, and tremendous determination. Let's learn more about him.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Byron Pitts from ABC News Nightline. And I think I would tell 20-year-old Byron the same thing my mother told me when I was 20. If you work hard and pray hard and treat people right, good things will happen. I believe that. I was born in not just Baltimore, but East Baltimore, and there's a distinction if you're from the city. I was born into a working class family, two parents. My dad was a meat cutter, my mom was a seamstress at a London Fug coat factory in Baltimore. My parents eventually divorced when I was 12. My mother, Clarice Pitts, she was my rock. All that I am, all that I'll ever be, is because of Clarice Pitts and what she poured into me. My mother always believed there's nothing that prayer and hard work couldn't overcome. So for us, being in church was important. And religion just wasn't this thing in the sky concept. The religion was practical. You could feel it. You could touch it. I was functionally illiterate until I was 12 years old. Began to learn to read when I was 13. And I also had a stutter. I just thought I was stupid. That's what my classmates and some teachers said. And it was their diagnosis that I was mentally retarded, the word they used to tell my mom. And so their recommendation was just put him in a state hospital and see what happens. And my mother, God bless her, says, no, that's not the destiny God has for my child. My mother didn't believe in adversity. She thought that stumbling blocks were stepping stones, opportunities. And so she pushed back, she fought back, she prayed. It is with my mother's mountain-moving faith I got the help I needed, and here we are. Education fundamentally changed the trajectory of my life. From some people's perspective, I may have started with a deficit, but in each obstacle in my life, whether it's professional or personal, I am reminded to refocus and think less about what I don't have and more about what I do have. Because in America, if you apply yourself, if you work hard, if you're optimistic, you can be anything you want to be. I think the piece was about 5 minutes long. I love being a journalist. I think it's my job to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I think it's my job to shed light in dark places and to give voice to the voiceless. They demand good things. Being a new member of the Horatio Alger Association is one of the greatest honors of my life. And it reinforces what my mama raised me to believe, that if you work hard and pray hard and treat people right, good things will happen. Being a member of this association has been a great thing to happen in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Byron Pitts, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Robert L. Wright.
First, giving honor to God, from whom all good things are possible. In this glorious moment, two of the most powerful words in the English language come to mind. Thank you. To my dear friend Bob Wright, deep gratitude for you putting my name into nomination. Your wisdom, your grace, your kindness inspire me. To the board and members of Horatio Alger, thank you. To those of you I've gotten to know, what a blessing. To those of you I will get to know, what a blessing. To my fellow inductees, I'm honored and humbled to be in your number. To my friends who've come far and some nearby to support me on this night, thank you. I'm grateful for your presence. To my family, my sister, my niece, those here tonight, those always in my heart and my prayers, thank you for your unconditional love.
It's been a wonderful ride. And as Mom always raises to believe, the best is yet to come. A special thanks to the person who, for all of my life, remains my greatest inspiration, my late mother, Clarice Pitts. Next to the Bible, her favorite book was The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. Seeing her baby boy as a member of the association would have brought her great joy. She was a woman who gave everything, every fiber of herself to her children. We loved her, respected her, feared her. She was fond of telling friends and strangers about all of her children. Quote, "My chest is so full of pride," she'd say, "when I talk about my children, I feel as if I'm about to break a bra strap." So I hope her friends in heaven will loan her a safety pin tonight. I can feel her pride and her presence in my bones. And finally, to the scholars, the main reason we're all here. Please know your stories of perseverance and grit inspire us all. Supporting you is a gift you give us. You are the hope and dream of our wonderful nation. How blessed we all are to live in the greatest country on earth, where all things are possible. Where all things are possible to those who believe deeply, work tirelessly, and dream boldly. May God's amazing grace continue to shine on all of us. Thank you. God bless.
Congratulations, Byron. And thank you for everything that you have brought to our association. Lou mentioned earlier that we'll be looking this evening at some of the Horatio Alger Award winners of the past 70 years, and Mindy Stearns is here to help us do that and to expose some of the themes from throughout our history. Mindy is the life partner of our 2011 member, Glenn B. Stearns, and she's a TV personality in her own right. The themes that we'll be looking into will seem very familiar to you. They are perseverance, integrity, and excellence. On the screens, you see the faces of some of our members from the past 7 decades, men and women who faced serious adversities and overcame them through hard work and sheer force of will. Certainly, they were talented and wise enough to recognize opportunities as they occurred, but they could not have succeeded without perseverance. They worked and worked and worked to keep pursuing their dreams. With that stick-to-itiveness, they started businesses, they served in public office, they made discoveries, they solved problems. They strengthened the free enterprise system on which the American dream depends, and they made life better for their fellow citizens. Now here is Mindy Stearns with someone who can tell us a little more about the Horatio Alger value of persistence. Mindy.
Thank you, Tom. This is exciting. We're going to try something very exciting tonight, and we get a chance to look back on some of the members who have made this organization so unique and so special. You'll be seeing their faces on the screens throughout the night, and I'm standing with another amazing member who has had a great history with Horatio Alger, Mr. Al Anixtad. Thank you for being here tonight.
Nice to be here.
Now, he has, when we're talking about stick-to-itiveness and perseverance, this man has it in spades. Let me just run you through, scholars, listen up. This man has had an incredible history. He was raised on a dairy farm. His father milked 40 cows a day by hand, and he also had a paper route as a child. He worked in the farm. He shucked corn. You mopped floors. You did everything and anything. And it seems like many Horatio Alger members have held paper routes as something we don't see much anymore today. But perseverance seems to be something that is lost in some of today's activities with a lot of the multitasking and the instant gratification that people are feeling these days. How do you feel that's one of the crucial elements in success?
When I think about perseverance and getting ahead and going forward and all this, first of all, I want to congratulate all the scholars who got their scholarship this week. And this is the start of a great career for each and every one of them, because I was there at one time myself. You mentioned a paper route. I tell you what, we grew up in the state of Minnesota, and a paper route, I had 40 papers to deliver in the morning, and on Sundays, I had 105 Sunday papers to deliver. And you know what? They didn't measure wind chill factor back in those days, and it was 30, 40 below zero real temperature. So you had to have a lot of perseverance just to go out and deliver all those papers. And on Sunday, my mother would say at 5:30, you start with your wagon and take the papers around, and then you get home by 9:30 so you and I can go to church. And that's kind of how I grew up. And when you think about Horatio Alger's, our scholarship program, when I read about Horatio Alger's 10, 12 years ago, I said, this is a perfect fit, because we're already doing a lot of things that the mission of Horatio Alger's is doing, so we love it. And people say to me, why do you come back every year? Some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life are Horatio Alger's members right here tonight.
It's an incredible family, and we congratulate you on the over millions of dollars you've given through the Annexted Family Foundation. Thank you for that. You have one last piece of wisdom for the scholars?
I do. When I started out, I was 23 years of age, just got out of college, had a family, and when I think about it, I didn't even know what a CEO was when I was 23 years of age. And so I started out as a salesperson, and somebody gave me some pretty good advice. He said, you don't know much because you're in an industry that's very complicated. But one thing you got going in spades, you had the knowledge, energy, and passion. You were born with energy and passion. Now you got to go get the knowledge. So I carried that forward and continued to get the knowledge and continued having the energy and all the rest. And so when you think about the kids that are here and them going forward, they've got to really dig in. Like people have said all this last couple of days, the world is yours. Just go get them.
Go get them. Go get them, scholars. Thank you, Al. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you do for the association. Tom, back to you.
Minutes, 525,000 moments so dear, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, and laughter, in striving. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Seasons of seasons of love.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 journeys to plan, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man?
Truth that she learned, or times that he cried, and bridges he burned, or the way that she died.
It's time now to sing out, though the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year in the life of friends. Remember the love. Love is a gift from up above. Measure your life in love.
happy anniversary to us all, and thanks to all of those talented artists. Their song says, "Measure Your Life." By any measure, Alain Bouchard's life has been a success. You may not know him, but chances are you've been in one of his stores. He started in humble circumstances in what's now Saguenay, Quebec. And the company he founded now operates more convenience stores in the United States than any other firm. Let's see how he did it.
Some of these students that the association is supporting, they have been through a lot of adversity. But if they, in their mind, they are prepared to change their life, it's possible. I come from Chicoutimi in the region of Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean here in Quebec. My father was working day and night, and he was building his own company and working very hard. It was a lot of adversity at home because my father was building roads for this general contractor. He bought new equipment, trucks and Caterpillar tractors and all that. And he didn't get paid for these 2 winters, so he lost everything. You know, in these days, bankruptcy means you have to reimburse. There was no protection like the Chapter 11. My father had to work very hard to pay back the debtors, and gosh, it was difficult. He had 3 jobs, and my mother was taking care of all of us. She got sick. She went to an hospital for a couple of years. My father never gave up. He was an entrepreneur. So I decided early, at 14 years old, that I wanted to be an entrepreneur myself. And I started to talk to myself. Hey, Alain, you have to do something with your life. And I've learned that when you stick to it and you focus, you win. So I started with 1 store in partnership with the 3 founders. So we became a team of 4, and like the Musketeers. From 1 store to 20, 30 stores, we became publicly traded company early. 2 years later, we bought the largest convenience store company in Canada. And Circle K today is our global brand. I'm 67 now, and I'm not done. I just want to continue to build this company and be proud of what we do every day. The best is yet to come. My greatest success is my family. We have 4 children. I have a lovely wife. I'm proud. I'm honored to become part of the Horatio Alger Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Alain Bouchard, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. V. Tran Watson.
Good evening. Very, very excited to be here tonight. I thought I was to be first because of my name, you know, B. I was first for the last 2 days at all the event. And I started drinking wine while we were waiting. I said, okay, I'm going first, so it's gonna be easy. And then I saw that they started with my friends here, so I stopped drinking. And now here I am. Thank you. Thank you very much to the Horatio Alger Association and the Horatio Alger Association of Canada for this award. Thanks to Serge Godin and Prem Watsa for proposing me. Actually, I've delayed this a bit. They asked me last year, and it was 69 years. I said, I'll wait for the 70th anniversary. You know, why not? I also wish to salute my friend, the Right Honorable Brian Mulroney, the best Prime Minister Canada has ever had. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything you have done for this country, my country, your country. I'm happy and honored to be here among the distinguished individuals receiving this award this year and to join the outstanding American and Canadian individuals that have received this honor over the years. I've met great people in the last 2 days, and I want to congratulate the new members with me. And John Elway was also waiting. He thought he was to be second. So, John, I hope you have stopped drinking too. I share this recognition with the co-founders of Alimentation Couche-Tard, which is our French name in Quebec, and Circle K. Circle K is our global brand all over the world in three continents, 26 countries. And the executive team, we have a few of them here tonight, as well as the 115,000 dedicated employees who work every day in our stores and service centers worldwide. So I hope that you will remember the Circle K, you know, a big red K. So 7-Eleven is a good brand, but it's owned by Japanese. So Circle K is owned by American shareholders and Canadian shareholders. Thank you. That was Christy. When I learned about the association, I was glad to hear that scholarships were also available for Canadian students throughout the country, not only for students pursuing their education at university, but also for those seeking a career and technical education. I personally would like to support more scholarships for students from Quebec, where I come from. Congratulations to all the Horatio Alger scholars. One of the best pieces of advice that my father gave me when I was about your age was that to make a name for yourself, there was only one way, through hard work. If you have a good attitude, keep your ego in check. I have some allergies to big egos. And work hard at something you enjoy, you will be successful. I also humbly hope that my experience will convince many of you to become entrepreneurs. In closing, my special thanks to my family. My oldest daughter is here tonight with her husband, my wife, who have supported me for all these years. Thank you, merci beaucoup, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Alain, and congratulations. Having a vision and steadfastly pursuing it is a hallmark of true leadership. Leonard B. Tesler had a vision of making the world a better place. Despite a learning disability, he pursued that vision, and it led him to great success. Please watch.
Whatever I do in this world, I want to make sure whatever I leave behind is better off for having had an experience of my involvement than it was before I became involved. I was born in Far Rockaway, New York. Grew up in Cedarhurst, youngest of 3 children, very traditional household. Mother was a homemaker. Father ended up in the liquor business as a result of a special program that New York State had at the time to award liquor licenses to wounded veterans. He was an American hero. He flew 24 missions. It was his next to last mission that he was injured and was paralyzed in his leg for his entire life. Mom was an amazing woman. She was very positively minded. I think I have my mother's disposition and my father's persistence. Quite frankly, I didn't know that I had learning disabilities until I grew up. I had trouble reading. Back then, life was pretty simple. You did well, you didn't do well. There were no excuses for success or failure. That was just the world we live in. I always was able to overcome whatever problems I might have in school and teach myself tricks to digest facts, or I have a very good memory. I learned strategies to survive. I learned street smarts and how to read a room and how to read people and how to understand the environment I'm in and the things you need to do to get by and succeed. I live life that there's always a solution to a problem, and I actually give my learning disability some of the credit for that. Always wanted to be in business. In 1981, I had an opportunity to go into business with one of my clients at the time to form an oil and gas company. I was one of the 4 original partners. We were incredibly successful, and I think everybody who's successful is really lucky, you know, but you make your own luck to a certain degree. You just have to decide you want it bad enough, and you're willing to sacrifice enough, and you're willing to commit your time, energy, and effort enough. I never close my door, because I want everybody to always feel that they can come in, sit down, what's on your mind, how can I help you reason through a problem? And I've tried to practice that in my whole life with everyone I've ever been involved with. Again, it goes back to my core principle of life: leave the world a better place. And part of leaving the world a better place requires you to help people. You always get back more than you give. Family is the most important part of my life. It's the thing I'm proudest of. I've got 2 wonderful children, a wonderful daughter-in-law, 2 unbelievable grandchildren. I'm married to probably the most extraordinary woman that's ever walked the face of the earth. Without her, I would not be the person I am today. Other than marrying my wife and having my children, being nominated for the Horatio Alger Award is the highlight of my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Leonard B. Tesler, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Robert G. Miller.
Thank you. Having the opportunity to receive the Horatio Alger Award alongside the 10 other exceptional individuals in the class of 2017 is an extraordinary honor. I'm humbled by the recognition and feel very privileged to be standing before all of you today. I want to extend my gratitude to Bob Miller, my business partner and friend, and my other sponsors, Peter Stott, Tom Hagei for nominating me, and David Sokol for this award, as well all as the members of the association. Helping others to learn and improve their lives has always been one of my guiding principles. Having the opportunity to fund scholarships through the Association for young men and women who might otherwise not be able to complete their education is really an extension of this mission and truly special for me. I've had challenges in my life overcoming learning disabilities. This is one of them. But I've been fortunate to have people in my life who've supported and encouraged me, including my parents, my father-in-law Barry Kay, my sisters here tonight, my friends, and my business partners, many of whom are here tonight, for which I will always be grateful, and my extraordinary wife and children, and my grandchildren, who don't even know how important they are to me in my life right now, but it's truly amazing. I cannot overstate the importance of having a supportive network of caring people around you to inspire, guide, and help chart a course forward. It is critical to realizing the full potential of any opportunity, and I'm thrilled that I am joining an organization which offers this kind of support to its scholars. I look forward to contributing my time to work with the scholars and to provide the kind of encouragement I receive from my role models. Thank you again for this opportunity. I'm now privileged to count myself a member. Really, very much thank you. And Bob, I hope that was an important call. Yeah.
It's extraordinary how great people always find a way to have some fun. And Leonard, congratulations to you. I have to say that Melody Hobson has had plenty to struggle with. She comes to us from a large single-parent family. She's risen from that difficult background to become a financial powerhouse. And she's a business guide for others through her many television appearances. Let's learn more about Melody and her remarkable journey.
I was very, very young when I decided I had the ability to affect the outcome of my life. I'm talking second, third grade. I used to say to my family that I was going to Yale. No one in my family had graduated from college. I have very fond memories of being a child in Chicago. Despite some unfortunate circumstances at times, the stress was financial stress, and that stress was pretty constant throughout my childhood. We used to get evicted a lot. We used to get our phone disconnected and our lights turned off, and it was not pleasant. My mother was very pragmatic. She was loving, but she did not shelter or shield us from the brutal realities of life. She would say things like, life is not fair, get over it. Everything that I did, I had to figure out. My mother was not going to create a plan for me. My mother went blind when I was in high school. She started to go blind. And my mother had diabetes. But there was this sense of the possibility she wouldn't be there. And I just remember feeling extraordinarily vulnerable at that point. And then as the blindness really took over, that changed our life pretty dramatically. This was a new kind of harsh reality. I was desperate for control, desperate to feel more secure, desperate to understand. So I became obsessed with school, and my taking control was being in control of those outcomes. It's no accident I work in the investment business because I was desperate to understand money. I started off working in, a nondescript role called client services and marketing. I did all the jobs no one wanted, happily. And I very slowly rose up through the organization. And when I was 31 years old, I became president. People have overcome a lot in this world. And while I've had my own trials and tribulations, they're not as bad as others. You try to look at what you've got and say, what about this is something to celebrate? And now in the perspective, while I hated those years of not knowing, I hated the moving and the evictions, but I am grateful for them because I know what kind of person it's made me today. Being a member of the Horatio Alger Association is an honor, and it's an honor to be able to stand alongside of great Americans who have created amazing stories for themselves, but more importantly, who understand the responsibility that comes with the success that they have had.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Ms. Melody Hobson, and her nominating sponsor, Association President, Mr. Byron D. Trott.
Thank you very much. I would like to begin by thanking everyone at Horatio Alger, at the Horatio Alger Association, especially our president, Byron Trott. I teased him earlier, but he is a great friend. He nominated me. Receiving this award and joining the ranks of iconic Americans such as Maya Angelou and President Eisenhower and my fellow honorees in the class of 2017 is, as many people have said tonight, truly humbling, truly. In moments like this, I have to say I often find myself going back to a document that has been a great source of inspiration for me. It's one of my favorite writings. It's a letter by NAACP President W.E.B. Du Bois, and it was written to his daughter Yolanda when she was just 14 years old, living in England by herself, attending boarding school. Now, over 100 years ago, it was pretty remarkable that a black child was on her own in another country studying, but this was the case. And Du Bois writes her this letter, the first letter as she's gone to be in boarding school, and this is what he says. Dear Yolanda, the main thing is the you beneath the clothes and the skin. The ability to do, the will to conquer, the determination to understand and know this great, wonderful, curious world. He goes on to tell her, don't shrink from new experiences and customs. Take the cold bath bravely. The line that most sits with me is when he encourages her to take the cold bath bravely. Many of us in this room has done just that. We know that cold bath was often plenty of struggle, but in the end, the cold bath is what made us stronger and better. So, my message to you scholars, as you continue to overcome the obstacles that you have been dealing with, is to take the cold bath bravely and know that when you get to the other side, it too will be worth it and you will be better for it. When I was a young child, my mother used to tell me that I could be or do anything, and I believed her. But I also believe that is true of anyone and everyone, including everyone in this room, especially the scholars. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Melody. The Horatio Alger Association recognizes success, and particularly success in spite of adversity. For our next 2017 award winner, though, the word success isn't quite big enough. His relentless optimism has taken him to the heights of his profession and beyond. In the field of athletics, there is success. And then there is John Elway.
No matter what you do in this world, there's a lot of people that are going to be the naysayers that say you can't get through it, and that's why it's so important to keep your nose to the grindstone and continue to work at it, and don't let anybody tell you can't do something. I was born in Port Angeles, Washington. I was very fortunate to have a great mom and a great dad, and Dad was a biology teacher and a high school football coach. And then we moved to Missoula, Montana, where my dad was the offensive coordinator at the University of Montana. That's where I got introduced to football. I had pretty good size at the time, but I could really outrun everybody, so that's why I was a good running back. My dad thought that the best opportunity for me to be successful was to play the quarterback position. And I was getting recruited, and according to the experts, you know, the #1 guy coming out of high school. But then I tore my knee up halfway through my senior year. I tore the cartilage and really frayed my ACL. It kind of put my career in question as far as where was I going to go because of the knee. And everything kind of flashed because that happened to my dad. He ended up tearing his knee up and never recovered from it. But in my mind, I was still going to be the best quarterback I could be, and the knee was going to heal, and I was young, and I was going to still be able to have a good career in college. You know, I didn't allow the negative to creep in. So I was able to come back from that and still go to Stanford. I was the #1 draft pick when I came to the NFL. I was the highest paid player in the history of the league, so therefore there was that much more pressure on me from the outside, but also from the players on the inside. At that point in time, I really felt like the whole world was on my shoulders. The label on me was not the fact that I was a good quarterback, it was like, you can't win the big one. The more they said I couldn't do it, the more it became a challenge to me. And so it took 15 years of hard work before we were finally able to get over the hump to be world champions. Perseverance is really what it takes. You do have to get some breaks. You do have to have some things go your way. But I will tell you this, that with a positive mindset, things go your way a lot more often than they don't than you have if you have a negative mindset. I got 3 girls and 1 boy, and I am very proud of how they have turned out as adults. Well, becoming a part of the Horatio Alger Association is the highest honor I've had, and I couldn't be part of a better group. And so for me, it is truly, truly a tremendous honor to be becoming a part of this association. I look forward to helping out as much as I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. John A. Elway, Jr., and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Glenn B. Stearns.
Thank you and good evening. Before I go any farther, I'd really like to thank Glenn Stearns for the nomination. He's a tremendous man and a great friend. And Glenn, thank you so much. I love you.
Love you, buddy.
Thank you. The next thing I'd like to do before I get started is I'd like to show you my greatest accomplishment. And that's my family over there in the corner. I'd like all my kids and my wife, Paige, to stand up. I want to show them off. My son, Jack, my daughter, Juliana, my beautiful wife, Paige, my daughter, Jessica, my daughter, Jordan, and then 2-month-old Gwendolyn. So thank you so much for coming. They really went out of the way to come, and they are my greatest accomplishment. I'm deeply honored and humbled and proud to join my fellow inductees. Like all of you in this room, I've been very fortunate and had some success in my life. That's been the result of a lot of teamwork, perseverance, hard work, and even a little luck. Getting to know the distinguished membership of this organization, I've seen how common those traits are in your own personal success stories. Whether on the football field or in business or out in the community, it's truly been rewarding to know we share the same tools for success. This recognition tonight is particularly meaningful to me, not only because of the respect and admiration I have for the membership of the Horatio Alger Association. It's extra special because of the 100+ Horatio Alger scholars here with us, many of the most brightest and most promising high school seniors in the country. After spending time with them these last few days, I can tell you that our future is in great hands because of these young leaders. I would like to remind those scholars that for me, as a football player, in business, as an NFL general manager, and most importantly with my family, just about any success I've had or lessons I've learned has come after some kind of adversity. I was fortunate to cap my playing career with back-to-back Super Bowl wins, but that was only after losing 3 times on the world's biggest stage nearly a decade earlier. Not too long after I retired from football, I lost my father, who was my hero, and my twin sister, who was my best friend, in consecutive years. Those losses helped me realize we have to live life to the fullest, and that you can't make it alone. You're going to need that support from your teammates. In my current role, I took a lot of pride in helping build our Super Bowl 50 championship team in 2015. That was after, of course, losing big in Super Bowl 48. The bottom line is that in life, just like on the football field, you're going to throw some touchdowns, but there's also going to be some interceptions, as I said earlier today, 263 of them. It's a competitive world out there, but the way you handle adversity is what defines you. Work hard, and you will find a way to success. Thank you again to the Horatio Alger Associations. Congratulations to my fellow inductees and the scholars, and I'm truly honored to be here with you tonight. Thank you again.
John, congratulations and welcome. We've been talking about Horatio Alger leaders tonight. Leaders command respect, and the surest way to do that is to exhibit another of our Horatio Alger values, integrity. It's a value displayed by the people whose images you've been seeing on these big screens tonight. Their honesty and strong moral principles were apparent to everyone they touched. People wanted to follow them. They naturally looked to them for leadership. Their integrity enabled them to accomplish things and to realize the American dream. Let's find out more about the role integrity plays in achieving success. Mindy Stearns is here again to help us out. Mindy?
Thank you, Lou. I am on the grand stage with one of our grand members, the Right Honorable Brian Mulroney, former Prime Minister of Canada. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you.
Now, you thought
would you like another song?
maybe you don't know this, but He's Irish, and last night David Foster had him sing Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and I don't think you have a future in song, but you should stick to politics, really. But I would love an encore. So anyway, we're talking about integrity today, and your administration was the cornerstone was integrity, and that's something extremely important to success. I mean, it takes years to build and a second to lose it. So how important is that to you to be successful?
Well, integrity is the cornerstone of life. It's for all of us in all walks of life. Without it, you don't get very far. And in fact, you can go back very, very quickly. I was introduced to this society by Tony Novelli, a man of great integrity and generosity, which are they go together in life. And so yes, I would agree that no one gets very far at all without a constant reference to the cornerstone of integrity in his life, the way he treats people, the way he'd like to be treated, and the kindness that he's able to show to others.
I think it's important to know, one of our other fellow members has this phrase, George Arjowitz says, if you lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. And I think that if that goes to the saying of who you surround yourself with.
Well, in politics, you know, we all do our best and we all make mistakes, and there are people around politicians that you don't particularly like sometimes, but the important thing is never to lose that lodestar of personal integrity, knowing that whatever anyone says, you did your best and you were honest at all times.
Okay, I have one more question before we wrap. You also, these scholars will face adversity. They'll face naysayers, as John Elway said, and they'll people that'll be negative. But you've been able to maintain optimism in what can be a negative environment. Can you give us a little example? You have one yourself.
Well, I think you're referring to the time immediately after I won the primaries, and this smart aleck, my campaign manager, said, "Let's go out, just knock on doors, and we'll take footage of you with the live television going." And you know, it'll be new and it'll be interesting. It'll be fascinating. So I go along, and we're in a suburb outside of Ottawa, and I knock on the door, and the guy answers, and I said, "Hello, I'm Brian Mulroney, the new leader of the Conservative Party, and I'd like to wonder if I could have your vote." And he looked at me. He said, "Brian Mulroney, I wouldn't vote for you if you were the goddamn last person living in Canada." And then he slammed the door in my face. So I turned around, and I'm walking out with my campaign manager, who says to me, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I think we should put him down as undecided."
And that's why you're such a fabulous Prime Minister.
Yeah, you got to be optimistic in life. I went on from there to win 2 elections, so I did pretty well.
That is wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your support of Horatio Alger Association.
Thank you very much. Many Horatio Alger members and scholars come from family backgrounds that were less than ideal, to say the least. But all of us emphasize the importance of family in building a successful life. Our next new member is Richard Stevenson. Despite economic hardship, a strong family connection inspired his life's work. Let's take a look.
I don't measure times in toughness. I've measured times in where I'm going to be tomorrow. I see a vast opportunity in everything I've ever observed, and my parents instilled that in me. I was born in Sheridan, Indiana, a small rural community. My dad was involved in everything in that community. My mother was warm, absolutely embracing love, start to finish. I didn't know the deprivations we were going through. I didn't know my dad lost the home that they'd built where I was born. We moved 9 times before I was 12, and 3 of the homes we lived in had no indoor plumbing. I wasn't born with any wealth except the wealth of a character in my parents who bestowed upon me the view that, hey, the moral code governs the performance of honest and credible men. Moral code for us means, among other things, when you see someone who's less well off than yourself and you're in a unique position to do something about their plight, you step into the opportunity you're uniquely able to do something about it. The secret of success is hard work. You know, Edison was right. It's not so much inspiration as it is perspiration. It's just staying with the task. But the task has to be meritorious. When people ask, what would you do? You ask the more primordial question, what is it that motivates you to do what it is you do? My mother was diagnosed with cancer. It galvanized the family to want to do something about it. She died, and now we swore to change the face of cancer in my mother's memory. My mother wasn't empowered with information she could have had that existed that would have changed the fate of her disease. That's not right.
Cancer's enemy is an empowered patient.
Patient empowerment medicine is what changes a person's life when they get the information they need from someone they trust. This year, there'll be more than 30 million people coming to our website in search of an answer to their cancer they believe they're more likely to find at CTCA than anywhere they've been. Cancer Treatment Centers of America is not our business, it's our calling in my mother's memory. That was the galvanizing change. That adversity that we faced was beyond any I expected, and that's what we're about. We're changing cancer. I don't know of anyone more blessed than I am with the family I have and the values of our family. And I've not received an honor as prestigious and as important to me than to be recognized by the Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans. Wow, me? You're kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Richard J. Stevenson, and his nominating sponsor, Association Chairman Paul Anthony Novelli.
Oh, what fun we're going to have tonight. Haven't you already, pardon me, had a wonderful evening? Oh, my goodness. Oh, terrific. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Lou, for this gracious introduction. By the way, what happened to the team that promised me they're going to photo op that picture? Bon Jovi's important to my wife. And I was promised you'd see Bon Jovi in that segment, not this guy. Honey, I apologize. I apologize. I don't know what happened here. Well, again, thank you, and thank you especially, of course, of my heartfelt thoughts of gratitude to Tony. We call him Paul Anthony Novelli. He's the magic man, isn't he? Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. I am truly humbled and could not be more honored than to join this illustrious group of extraordinary achievers tonight. And I assure you that the phrase, "I have never been more grateful," will be honored and spoken no more commonly or again as I will tonight. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Not me. Thank you.
I'm also very thankful and very fortunate this evening to have my loving family with me. You heard about Bette Midler singing "The Wind Beneath My Wings." She was talking about my family. My family. Dr. Christopher Stevenson, his lovely wife, Jamie, Mr. Luke, my grandchild, among 7 others, Annie Panny, known as DLG number 1, Daddy's little girl number 1, followed by Sean Cordery, our guy driving our banking operations around the world, Mr. Big, and then Jennifer Lynn, 4 grandchildren from her. This goes on. I have 18 children, 34 grandchildren. I was given 90 seconds just for the introduction of my children. I'm going to take every minute of it. That's how important they are to me. And then my bone daughter, Bone, diggity dog bone, Shelby Louise Stevenson, my last born, and her love, Spence. And then there's Miss Universe in my world. Nationally ranked skater of consequence, doctor extraordinaire, Dr. Stacy Stevenson, my love. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Well, I couldn't be more proud of each and every one of you, and you know how much you mean to me, and for your being here tonight and honoring your dad, your husband. It means the world, because you mean the world to me. And my family knows if I had listened at any point in my life, and I should have probably,
to those who doubted my conviction and or my drive to achieve the goals that were important to me, I wouldn't be here today if I believed any of that. And that's true of all those whom you've heard and the 2 stars you're yet to hear. And I certainly wouldn't be among those leading the battle to change the face, the ugly face of cancer. Always written in big, bold, black letters to anyone who hears, you have cancer. Horrible news and a disgraceful situation. Well, happily, it's about scholars tonight, not about me or anything in my past. It's always about my family. But happily, we have our scholars with us tonight. And because of you scholars who live here and in the north of here, still America, you're blessed. You're blessed because you're the beneficiaries of a unique gift provided by our founding fathers. Yours and ours were Freemasons. I am a Freemason. My sons are Freemasons. Thank God for that tradition. This country, that country of the North, founded by Freemasons, who gave us the gift of certain inalienable rights. Free speech, assembly, religion, private property, free enterprise, of course. What more important to this association? And freedom to pursue your own interests and the interests of your families, and to know that the fruits of your labor would be protected by the rule of law, not the arbitrary and capricious rule of a bureaucrat, the rule of law, interpreted by the most honorable Justice Thomas in the history of our country. Yeah. That was your cue, Clarence, that was your cue. You're supposed to get up now and do a little dance. And yeah. This gift gave birth to the widely heralded and truly treasured exceptionalism of our America, don't you think? That is the gift that made it possible. And to you scholars, it is your unbridled opportunity that this gift provides. Remember your truth as scholars and as human beings. Your truth is to remember every one of you is uniquely unlike anyone else in the history of the world. No one in my family or yours or your friends and others can know what's best for you. Moreover, most probably, no one in your family or among your friends has ever done what you will do. That's just the way it is, thank goodness. You weren't born with a first mortgage on your existence, not a first mortgage on your existence. No one owned your life, nor were you beholden to another upon the day of your birth. One of our founders, about whom you've heard mentioned earlier, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the author of our famed Power of Positive Thinking, published after 5 years after our association was founded, wrote a marvelous book, and I've just given you the title. Let's read it. Well, I won't read all of it for you, but I encourage our dynamic young scholars to pay close attention to its instructional passages. Among those lessons, shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon! We did it in America. It can happen for you. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Oh, my goodness. Change your thoughts, and you'll change your world. You know, the world's always expanding. That's a law of physics. It's always expanding on the power of your personal view, and that's the truth. It's yours to expand the world, making it more possible for all of us to enjoy a good time. Well, what the mind can conceive and believe and the heart desires, you can indeed achieve. And of course, you can never forget, it's always too soon to quit. No, it's always too soon to quit. I leave you, my new young friends, with the following. Live the life of possibilities, and driven by, as you've heard, driven by hard work and a burning commitment to dream the impossible, and then find a way to make it happen. Because, in fact, impossible, as we now know, is divided. It's 2 words. It's I'm possible. It is not impossible. It's I'm possible. And those 2 words should be your life's governing principles. Thank you again to the association, and my congratulations, this extraordinary gift of my fellow truly distinguished Americans and our scholars. I'm delighted, thank you, to be here, and I can't tell you what a blessing it is for me to have been accepted. Now, it's time. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa! Now it's time to begin to remember the admonition of consequence. I didn't know about this till Tony told me. Let's all get together and kick the tires. Oh, yeah, kick the tires, light the fires, and get on down the road in the celebration of life. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Richard. Richard quoted Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and I want to acknowledge the descendants of our other founder, Kenneth Beebe, his daughter and son-in-law, Lynn Beebe Lambeth and Robert Lambeth, Jr. We're honored to have you with us this weekend. Persistence in the face of problems is at the center of Horatio Alger's writing and one of our core principles: never giving up, always pushing forward. It's a quality that Harold Matzner has used to become a leader in business and a leader in his community of Palm Springs. Let's watch.
Winston Churchill went to a university and gave a commencement speech. And he got up, took off his hat, took the cigar out of his mouth, and he said, "Never quit," and sat down, and that was it. I think that's one of my major strengths. I mean, I just don't quit. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. We lived with my grandfather, who was a Hebrew teacher and cantor in a synagogue. It was a house filled with honesty, and my parents were good people that had good values and a lot of integrity. You know, they weren't looking for anything they didn't earn. My mom was pretty spectacular. She was very kind. I mean, she was there 100% for me, and then for my brother when he came along later. My dad was a good guy too. He struggled to make it all work, but he hung right in there. School was tough because I was dyslexic, and in those days, 50 some odd years ago, they had no idea what that was. They didn't know how to deal with it. I remember when I became bar mitzvahed, it took hours and days to memorize this 3-hour service because I really couldn't read it. 55 years ago, I could pull off this entrepreneurial success that I was able to achieve in a niche situation. But even then, opportunities were much more limited if you didn't have a college education. I knew that it was important, but I also knew that I would have a very tough struggle in college, and the tools weren't there then. Nobody was there to help, and it was almost impossible to overcome that on your own. It's important whether you have a college education or not to keep learning, and I certainly have done that throughout my life. I think we all learn from our most challenging moments. They certainly make us stronger, and they help us in learning how to find solutions, which is what business is certainly all about, and to a large degree what life is all about. Life has turned out very, very well. And if you have the strength and courage, you can make almost anything happen.
Good, and right here now?
I couldn't imagine this happening to me anywhere else but in the United States. Freedom of opportunity is huge. Becoming a member of the Horatio Alger Association makes me very proud to join in an association that's committed to helping the youth of America who are the future of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Mr. Harold B. Matzner, and his nominating sponsor, Mr. Randall B. Hubbard.
Thank you very much. It is indeed a great honor to be inducted into the Horatio Alger Association and to join the distinguished Americans who have been recognized in this manner over the past 70 years. I am extremely humbled and grateful to be among tonight's honorees. I would like to thank my good friend, R.D. Hubbard, for his vote of confidence in nominating me, and Greg Renker, Dennis Washington, and Jack Rundhofer for their support of my nomination. And of course, the Horatio Alger Association for selecting me. I would also like to express special gratitude To two individuals who are here tonight, my beautiful life partner, Shelley Reed, and my business partner of 40 years, Barry Shiro. You really get to know each other well in a period of 40 years. You have each helped me immensely. I am also grateful to have with me tonight three leading philanthropists from my region of Southern California, Helene Galen, Donna McMillan, and Joanne McGrath. Thanks for all you do. Let me also express my congratulations to those determined, talented young scholars here tonight who've already overcome so much. My message to each scholar: fight for your dreams, never quit. It's important to keep learning throughout life. I think we all learn from our most challenging moments. Those moments certainly make us stronger, and they help us in learning how to find solutions, which is what business is certainly all about, and to a large degree, what life is all about. If you have the strength, courage, and determination, you can make almost anything happen. My hope for every scholarship recipient in this room tonight is that you will soar to such heights as to one day be standing at this podium, because the feeling is absolutely out of this world. I think there is one thing that everyone in this room will agree upon: freedom of opportunity and the American dream is very much alive. May God continue to bless this great country and the Horatio Alger Association. Thank you.
Harold, welcome and congratulations. Next, Valerie Montgomery Rice. She is the president and the dean of Morehouse College School of Medicine in Atlanta. She transformed her troubled background in a broken home into a distinguished career as a physician and medical educator. Let's see how she did it.
Never be ashamed of your story, because everyone has one. And it is those life experiences that really afford you the opportunity to be successful. When I think back growing up in Macon, I remembered my parents together, and that ended, unfortunately, pretty abruptly. My parents got a divorce, and that time period was a very chaotic one. There was some abuse in the household, which is why my mother left. She left to save her girls. She told us more in leaving than she could have ever told us in staying. I had osteomyelitis, which is an infection of the bone. When I got out of the hospital, I was on crutches, and I had to ride a special bus. And unfortunately, the name of the bus was the Lucky Duck bus. And of course, you can imagine there were mentally challenged kids on the bus. And some kids were making fun, thinking that I'm one of, quote unquote, those kids. Well, I can tell you, those kids were a sense of strength for me, because I learned humility. I defended those kids. Just because you're behind the 8 ball doesn't mean that you don't keep fighting. Education was going to be my ticket out of Macon. That was clear. And so I worked very, very hard at school. I decided to go to Georgia Tech. I loved math and science, but I wanted to integrate that with my love of people. And so I decided to go to medical school. And I had learned from my mother, you're not limited by your circumstances. The ideas are that people want things to be more energetic, right? There's an opportunity with hard work and determination for people to be successful. My greatest joys have been my 2 kids, Jane and Melvin, and then my husband also. But what consistently has brought the smile to my face is to see my children turn out to be great citizens. Becoming a member of the Horatio Alger Association is clearly an honor that is really humbling, particularly when I see all of the other individuals who have been inducted before me. And I will do everything that I can to continue to advance the values that are exemplified by the Horatio Alger Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Horatio Alger Award winner, Ms. Valerie Montgomery Rice, and her nominating sponsor, Association Treasurer, Mr. Anthony Welters.
Good evening. It is truly an honor to become a member of the Horatio Alger Association, especially alongside a group of truly remarkable people. And I thank my colleagues for allowing me to bring in the message of resilience. I thank Mr. Anthony Welters for nominating me and for his unwavering support of both me and Morehouse School of Medicine. To the Horatio Alger Association, this recognition is truly humbling. The association and the work that it does through its many members to provide scholarships and mentorship to bright, promising students, those students like those who people thought were going to be left behind on that bus that I described. Those students had passions that align with both my personal and my professional life. At Morehouse School of Medicine, our charge is to lead the creation and advancement of health equity. What do we mean by that? Health equity is achieved when everyone, despite his or her unique obstacles, challenges, and adversities, has the opportunity to achieve his or her optimal level of health. You see, as a little girl growing up with my mother and my 3 wonderful sisters in Macon, Georgia, I didn't know what was possible. I didn't know what it meant when I had osteomyelitis, but somehow I was able to achieve equity. There was great care provided to me, and my mother instilled in me that nothing was impossible. Despite the many challenges and adversities I've had, though, I've been blessed. Growing up in a single-parent household wasn't easy. Having the osteomyelitis wasn't easy, but I learned to push through because I always had people there cheering for my success. So to the scholars, to the many Horatio Alger scholars, remember, you have an entire association cheering for you, eager to contribute to your success story. And I challenge you to allow that outpouring of support to propel you forward to reach unimaginable heights. I want to thank my husband, Melvin, and my 2 wonderful children, Jane and Melvin, for their love and unconditional support. To my sisters and many friends and colleagues and mentors present today to support me, thank you. And again, I thank you, the Horatio Alger Association, for this wonderful honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. And to all of our 2017 Horatio Alger awardees, we are so pleased to welcome you. Join us in our work to further the aims of the Horatio Alger Association. Please, let's give them all a round of applause. What does it mean to succeed? For one thing, it almost always means to excel, to do things better than they've ever been done before. So excellence is a component of the American dream, and the Horatio Alger members from the past 70 years, the people whose faces we've been seeing tonight, achieved excellence in their chosen fields. Mindy Stearns is with somebody who can tell us more about that. Mindy.
Thank you, Tom. Now, we're meeting some excellent and amazing members tonight, and the question is excellence an inevitable byproduct of hard work, overcoming adversity, and caring about other people, or is it a goal that has to be pursued in and of itself? And I am here with a gentleman who exemplifies excellence in all you do. Jim Dickey, thank you for being here tonight. A Horatio Alger member who founded Crown Forklifts. You've overcome bullying. You have taken over your father's company, took it from an $8 million company to a $3 billion company, and have had incredible excellence in your forklifts. I know because they haul my products from Amazon all the time, and if they weren't excellent, they wouldn't be able to carry them. Sorry, honey. So I would like to talk to you a little bit more about excellence. Tell me how important that is for success.
Well, excellence is everything, and persistence, of course. I mean, you have to put your customers' interests first, and if you can try to incrementally improve every part of the company and every part of the way you're servicing your customers every year, that's a consistent formula for success over time.
Well, you've certainly integrated into the company and the product. And for the scholars, how do they display excellence in their daily lives and in college?
Well, I would think that if I have a message for the scholars tonight, it's that they're embarking on the beginning of a lifelong process. Education never stops. You've got something really interesting that you can learn from every single individual you meet. You have just the opportunity to finish college is the start of a lifelong education. It's not the completion, really, of anything.
Well, kids, it's just the beginning of your excellent life. Back to you, Lou. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mindy, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce one of our members now who's taken the idea of leadership to a whole new level in this association of ours. He's been responsible for so much progress in so many ways. One is particularly striking to me as a television journalist. It's his creation of our much-needed visibility campaign. It's really raised the Horatio Alger profile in all walks of American life. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of the Horatio Alger Association, Mr. Tony Novelli.
Thank you, Lou Dobbs, for everything and for everybody. I really love the guy that I get to introduce tonight. He came from a very poor background. He's a man that became Horatio Alger 25 years ago, and it was in 1992. He is a thorough leader in American life. He has given so much of himself to our work. Most of all, he has devoted his time and his wisdom to help our scholars. He holds one of the highest offices in the country, but still has sacrificed and devoted his personal attention to so many of our young people. And he doesn't just give them a handshake and a pat on the back. He spends time with them, he builds relationships with them, and he can't think enough of them and spend enough time with them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present one of the greatest people you'll meet tonight, and not that we didn't have a whole bunch of great people here, but he's done so much for us, and he's such a great man, and we all enjoy being around him, and I'm sure any of you know him do. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Tony, for your wonderful introduction and your friendship over the years. It is humbling to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful evening. For a quarter of a century, Virginia and I have gotten much, much more out of our relationships with the Horatio Alger scholars and scholar alumni than we could ever have imagined when we began in 1992. They come from all parts of our great nation and Canada. They are of all races and all faiths. They have faced adversity of every conceivable kind, and persisted and overcome that adversity. They have shown us that courage comes in many different shapes, and they have fought many, many battles alone and together. They have taught us about the challenges that young people face today, at least some young people, challenges that are different in character and perhaps in intensity from the ones we faced decades ago. They have gone through things that we could not imagine or dreamed of. Theirs is a world saturated by media, by instant communications, and by the internet. The concepts of time and personal space are strikingly different for them than they were for us. And yet, they have persevered. They have found meaning and validity in the simple, strong values articulated by Horatio Alger over 100 years ago: hard work, determination, human compassion. It is important to point out that the young people here with us tonight are only a fraction of this year's class of Horatio Alger scholars. They represent 2,200 more students who have shown the same grit, the same tenacity, the same persistence, the same courage. We are approaching 6,000 scholars currently in school. How can we not support them? They are our young heroes. They have been persistent in the face of daunting challenges and unimaginable suffering. And they have seen more adversity in their brief lives than most people have seen in much, much longer lives. Those qualities should be rewarded with a helping hand and an open heart, and the opportunity for the finest education one can absorb and one can attain. We all know that this education is but one of the sure keys to success. I wish to offer my heartiest congratulations to our new members, their life partners, and their families. I especially congratulate our wonderful, heroic scholars. And I want to express my deepest gratitude to my fellow members and their families for all they continue to do to support our scholars with resources, both material and spiritual. A 70th anniversary is a signal occasion. Let us take advantage of it to rededicate ourselves to the real purpose of this organization, to help as many deserving young people as we possibly can, for they are why we do what we do. Thank you all.
Thank you, Justice Thomas. Your remarks and indeed your life are an inspiration to all of us, so thank you so much. Justice Thomas mentioned the prime importance of education. It's something we all believe in, and as you've heard and as you know, we've made it the purpose of our Horatio Alger Association. We provide scholarships for young people who have experienced misfortune and have dedicated themselves to overcoming it in the Horatio Alger way, with honesty, integrity, and industry.
This is our work, and we're pretty good at it. It bears repeating. Since we began our scholarship programs 33 years ago, we've given more than $125 million to 25,000 young people. They are students who've demonstrated academic ability and good, great character. And we not only support them with scholarships, as Justice Thomas has demonstrated, We provide relationships and services to strengthen them. We let them know their worth, and we let them know that they are not alone. Their stories are not often happy ones, but we give them the chance to make their own endings to those stories. And here are just a few of them.
When we were children, Hassan and I used to climb. It's really been pretty amazing, all the people that have helped me get here.
My dream is to be successful and happy and safe.
And then just a short biography of who he is. I love school. It's given me a lot of opportunity to focus on different aspects of my life that I never really had the opportunity to focus on before.
High school's great right now. I'm in the band. I'm section leader in the clarinet section.
Whenever I'm running, it's really hard. You want to give up, but once you hit that 4-mile mark, you've already experienced the hard part. And so running is kind of like a metaphor for my life.
I've been going to school and I've been enjoying it, and I've been enjoying my time with my friends, but it wasn't always like that, sadly. When I was 8 years old, when I found out for the first time that my father had been using drugs. It was a big hit to me because after that they told me, your father's going to have to leave the house. He went to a rehab program. My mom had all the weight on her shoulders alone, so we were evicted from our house because we couldn't pay. And we lived in a car until my aunt, she contacted us saying, I have a place in a small apartment here for you guys in the local projects. And there were people doing drugs. There were people drinking on our front doorstep. And there was gang violence too. My most vivid experience was we heard gunshots and a bullet clanged against the metal bars on our window. My brother pulled me off the top of the bunk and he threw me on the floor and he ducked down with me as the bullets were flying. A teenager just across the alley from our apartment was killed, and it was devastating to see things like that.
When I was about 5 years old, Hurricane Katrina hit my city and it kind of disrupted my entire life as I knew it. So I had to move to shelters and, stay with other family members. So my living situation was changing all the time, and it was hard to keep up with schoolwork. My stepfather, he kind of battled with addiction, alcohol addiction, and also some other mental health issues. So it was a really dark period in all of our lives. And unfortunately, it took his life last year.
My mother was heavily involved with things like drugs, gambling, stealing. She didn't really care for me or my brothers. We all had different fathers and she didn't even know who the fathers were. We were being left at home all day long without food, and then one day, an older lady who I now call my grandma came in and took us under her wing, adopted us. I really started to notice my grandmother's health starting to deteriorate, so I began to help my grandmother out in any way I could because, she sacrificed so much of her life for me. I was buying groceries or helping to pay for bills or different things like that. I was also kind of in charge of budgeting too. I was only getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep at night at most, and I was showing all of these common symptoms of anxiety, depression, and my brother was autistic and my grandma eventually came down with dementia, and that's when things, I started thinking about, I wish I had a normal family, and that was like the absolute worst time for me to start thinking about that kind of stuff,
Pretty much from when I was born up until I was 7, I lived with both my mom and my dad. My dad was there kind of on and off. He was very abusive. One time I broke my arm and he didn't let me go to the doctors for 2 months because he told me that I was just a sissy for crying over it. So I spent the entire summer after kindergarten with a broken arm. One night when I was about 6 years old, my dad threatened my mom with a gun. And I went up to him and I tried pushing him out in the hallway and I tried stopping him, and my mom couldn't do anything. So I closed the door and I remember pushing the dresser up against it and calling the police and then having them come there and thinking we're gonna get help, only to have my mom tell them everything was fine because she was too scared to see what would happen. I was constantly scared, but I think that became everything about my existence. My mom was still having a very tough time with alcohol abuse, and we were already on the path of a really very difficult financial times. We lost the place we're living, and we were homeless, and I knew I couldn't spend the rest of my life living with those circumstances because I could see other people's lives, and I was like, this isn't what I want, and I know I can be so much more than this.
My mom had me when she was 18 years old. She got pregnant when she was 17. There was a lot of drinking and drug use with both of my parents, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. My parents would leave us in the middle of the night. They just couldn't take care of us. I was the mom of the family. My brother and I went into foster care when I was 10 years old. They were also doing drugs, smoking, drinking, and we had a family of 7 in a 3-bedroom house. It was hard to see people that I loved throw their lives away by drinking that much.
When I was in 3rd grade, my father was called to Korea for missionary work. With my father gone and without much income, my mother resorted to selling flowers at local bars, local restaurants. It really hurt me to see my mother working that hard for us. We had to find a way to live somewhere. So we were invited to Maryland to live in a community house, kind of. You can call it a cult or whatever, but I wasn't allowed to leave. And my life completely changed. Whether it was simple things like living in a room with, 15 other guys in one room, or the physical abuse that definitely I will remember the most. The leader would get mad. A lot of times she would put out her anger towards, the kids, and so maybe, just kick them. There was a certain position that we had to sit all the time, on our knees, and the pain is kind of indescribable. Looking back now, I think it's definitely built my character to who I am today, with my perseverance.
Resilience, determination. I always thought that I could do it on myself as long as I kept pushing forward.
I decided to change my brother and I's destinies. I didn't want either of us to end up where my parents were. We moved in with Bridget and Joe, and they provided for us a lot, and we could trust them. And we felt safe for the first time.
And I am grateful for the life I had, even all of the struggles, because they're all lessons to be learned.
If you don't let go of the dead weight of, your past, then you can't go forward.
Free enterprise is really what gives everyone the chance to succeed, and I'm able to work and do whatever I need to do to get to where I want to be.
I feel like for the first time in my life, I really have just so much to look forward to moving into the next chapter of my life.
My destiny was set up for me by other people, or at least that's what I thought for a long time, but through education, I know I'll be able to change that.
I am working towards getting my certified nursing assistant license while I'm in high school. I hope to become a doctor, probably an oncologist.
I want to go to college and become a physician's assistant.
I want to go to USC because I want to become a filmmaker.
I want to be an entrepreneur, to be able to build my company around the ethics and principles I feel are most important.
So prices decrease. The Horatio Alger Association really provides a positive community for a lot of young scholars.
Becoming a Horatio Alger Scholar is honestly one of the greatest honors of my life so far.
Winning the scholarship has meant the world to me.
It is something that I will proudly carry with me for the rest of my life. And that is true. Everywhere I go, I think I'll always have that on a job resume application.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the young heroes of these remarkable stories. Philip, Sebastian, and Hannah.
And to all our national scholars, I just want to say welcome to the family, the Horatio Alger family. You know, tonight is not a contest to see who had it the worst, but it is rather a celebration of who you are, of what you've become, what you've earned. Some things our audience might want to know about our 2017 scholars. The average family income in their households is less than $16,000. Over a fifth have been homeless at some point in their lives. Over a fifth have lost a parent or guardian. Over 1/4 have had a parent who's been incarcerated, and a third have suffered abuse. And with all that, their high school grade point average is 3.71.
Well done.
Scholars, you've been through a lot, but in another way, you're just beginning your journey. It's my hope and the hope of all of us that you will not just be inspired by the stories of our new members, but we hope that you will follow their lead. They show the way to a fulfilling, contributing, rewarding life by staying honest, hardworking, determined, and caring. Follow their example, and may God bless you.
Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Your words couldn't be more sincere. Your thoughts couldn't be better expressed. I'm sure all of our scholars are the better for having heard them and all of the words they've heard here this evening. I just want to add my own congratulations and my very best wishes to yours. Scholars, you should know the Horatio Alger Association is here for you. Once again, our colleague Mindy Stearns is out there, and she has a collection of inspiring words for our scholars and for all of us. Mindy?
Thank you, Lou. Yes, I do have some aspiring words, and it's from many of the members of the great voices of our past 70 years, of Horatio Alger from today and yesterday, whom I know you'll recognize many of these faces. So let's dim the lights and take a listen to these immortal voices.
We watch these scholars fulfill their dreams. We watch them pursue their careers, all because of a great education.
Everything is possible if you just put forth an effort.
We celebrate the leaders of today and encourage the young leaders of tomorrow.
That's what the Horatio Alger Foundation is all about, making a difference in the lives of individual young people.
I had every right to succeed, and if I failed, I had every right to forgive myself and to try again.
Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail.
I never have been able, not then, now, ever will be able to tolerate anyone knocking the American system.
In success, the most important thing you can do is don't procrastinate.
The most important work is what we can do to make a difference in the life of a child.
Things are happening as fast in your world as it is in the military's world. It's a challenge for you to stay up with it.
And kids, don't take any stuff.
Use this opportunity we're given to help others find their own.
The only limitation in this country is your own dream.
Follow your own star. Act as if everything depended upon you, and pray as if everything depended upon God.
Let us continue to dedicate our efforts to ensure a bright and promising future for our nation's outstanding young people.
Such amazing words, such incredible gifts that so many members have given us. And our final wonderful rock star couple of the evening is another members together and life partner who have been coming together 18 years, Susan and Craig McCaw. Now, Craig has built a company worldwide, one of the largest cellular networks in the world, came from nothing, and then Susan, of course, served as an ambassador to Austria, has served our country, and you continue to give back. You do so much for these scholars. You do so much with the Stanford Scholars, with scholarship. Why is it so important to stay involved, and why do you keep coming back every year?
Well, I would say Horatio Alger is an amazing compilation of individuals, both young and old, crossing every generation, who have overcome, survived, and thrived in spite of adversity and journeys through hell, with deference to Melanie Hobson. And this is the kind of organization that we view is joined at the heart, where we join at the heart with all of these amazing young people now and for the future. Susan and I have decided to give away the bulk of our wealth to philanthropy, and I can tell you there is no more amazing experience than an organization like this, where you see such immediate results and you feel the hearts of these people and how this influences them. So we're just honored to be part of this.
Susan, you do so much with the scholars yourself. You continue to stay involved.
Well, it's been quite an honor to be involved for the many years that we have been coming. I personally have enjoyed it just because I get to see firsthand these incredible scholars and then to follow them through, particularly the ones that end up going to Stanford. But in an era of increasing income inequality, the work of Horatio Alger is critically important to make sure that we give the opportunity to these young people who already have obstacles in front of them. But as I said, with economic mobility and social mobility being stifled, we got to make sure that these students still have this incredible opportunity of education.
Thank you. Thank you both for the work you continue to do here. We are so blessed to have you in this organization. The scholars, take the wisdom you've learned tonight and go out and have an incredible life. We've got incredible mentors. Stay involved, participate, and keep coming back as much as you can. We are so blessed to have you in this world. And back to Lou. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mindy. Our 70th anniversary is a remarkable achievement, but it points us to the 75th. And I want everyone here tonight, members, life partners, and friends, to leave here, I hope, thinking about where we'll be 5 years from now and thinking about what we can accomplish by our 100th anniversary. It's not that far away. We're all leaders. We all have ambitious goals. And as you've heard tonight, one goal is to raise the pace of our giving by the time we celebrate our 75th anniversary. But goodness knows we're not just numbers. Think of some of the faces that we've all had the privilege of seeing on these screens tonight. The voices we just heard. It's a who's who of American history and American leadership over the last 70 years. Our membership is woven into the very fabric of our nation. Our values are the very principles that have made our North American democracy strong and great. Our destiny is bound up in their destiny, and we're committed to seeing them thrive. It's all about the future. We do what we do so that the United States and Canada will continue to be lands of opportunity for people who want to work hard, to carry themselves with honesty and integrity, and give back to others. It is a virtuous circle. Opportunity leads to success. Success leads to giving back, and giving back strengthens our families, our communities, and our nations. That's why we're optimistic about our future. That's why the work of the Horatio Alger Association is so important in demonstrating leadership in order to secure that future and our destiny. That's why I'm so proud to work with all of you to make that future real and to make it strong.
Thank you, Lou. And now I hope you enjoy what we have in store for you, and then it's on to the Ritz-Carlton. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
I was sad and I was silent in shadow of my soul, never seeking the horizon with
Ladies and gentlemen, the internationally acclaimed award-winning tenor, Mr. Ronan Tynan.
America, land that I love, stand beside her.